Please rise while the colors are posted.
Post colors.
Please, former Congressman Michael McNulty will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our opening prayer.
Almighty God, you who are the source of our life, strength, and purpose. In your presence alone we find help, hope, and life. Guide us during this hour of fellowship and reflection to be grounded with a healing reminder of your love to all whose lives we touch this day. For it is in your glory we gather and offer our prayers. Amen.
Amen.
Right face. All right. Go.
Please be seated. Good morning. I'm Peter K. Goebel, the Director of the Rensselaer County Veterans Service Agency. We have gathered here this morning to honor a deceased Rensselaer County veteran for the month of August, and that veteran is Anthony A. Andy Maier. We are honored to have with us this morning his family members, his son Stephen Maier, his son Christopher Maier, his daughter-in-law Beth Walsh, his niece Christine Carroll, his nephew Ed Carroll, his niece Diane Carroll, family friend Bill Walthausen, and family friend Mike Fife. Thank you for being here. Also with us today to honor our Veteran of the Month are Congressman Paul Tonko, representing Congressman Antonio Delgado, Sarah Roberts, former Congressman Michael McNulty, New York State Senator Daphne Jordan, New York State Assemblyman Jake Ashby, our Rensselaer County Executive Steve McLaughlin, Rensselaer County Legislative Chair Mike Stammel, Rensselaer County Legislative Vice Chair for Finance Bob Loveridge, representing Rensselaer County District Attorney Mary Pat Donnelly, Susan Mullen Caliphate, representing Colonel Milton Kelly, Commander of the Watervliet Arsenal, Matt Day. We have Rensselaer County legislators Dan Casal, Mark Fleming, Tom Grant, and Carol Weaver. As we are all well aware, Memorial Day and Veterans Day are special days to remember all of our veterans. This program was created to help us honor our veterans all year round. To us here in Rensselaer County, every day is Veterans Day. The Rensselaer County Honor a Deceased Veteran Program represents veterans organizations throughout the entire county. This includes members of the American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, Veterans of Lansingburg, Military Order of the Purple Heart, Marine Corps League, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Korean War Veterans, Tri-County Council of Vietnam-era Veterans, Heroes at Home, Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, Vietnam Veterans of America, AMVETS, and the Rensselaer County Veterans Service Agency. I will now ask Mike Stammel, Rensselaer County Legislative Chair, and the assembled county legislators to come forward to tell us about our honored veteran for the month of August, Anthony A. Andy Maier.
as we honor our deceased veteran. Each month, the legislature has the privilege of honoring a deceased veteran from Rensselaer County. This month, we are recognizing the life of Andy Maier of Troy. Special thanks goes out to his son, Stephen, who has requested that we honor his son, which we are more than happy to do. I'll tell you a little bit about Andy Maier, that I've been told anyway, that Maier was born on September 2nd, 1924 in Troy, New York, to Frank and Louis Skolhorn Maier. Andy had two brothers, Ernie and Paul, and sister Helen Thomas, as well as Marie Kennedy, and the late Dorothy Marshalock, and Francis Yeager. Andy was born and raised in Troy and graduated from Troy High School. Shortly thereafter, Andy enlisted in the United States Army on February 22nd, 1943, in Albany, New York. He was still 18 years old, and Andy was sent to serve in the European theater in World War II as a technician, 5th grade, with the 313th Infantry Regiment, 79th Infantry Division. Andy's military occupation was a truck driver with transport critical goods and materials to support the wartime efforts. During his time in the U.S. Army, Andy served some of the most historic battles in American history. Andy served in the Battle of Normandy and in the Battle of Ardennes, counteroffensive, more commonly known as the Battle of the Bulge. On December 18, 1945, technician 5th grade Maier was honorably discharged from the United States Army at Fort Dix, New Jersey. For his honorable service to the country, Andy was awarded the American Campaign Medal, the European African Medal, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal, and the Army Good Conduct Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, and the Honorable Service Lapel Button. Andy returned home to Troy after a year and a half of civilian life. He enlisted in the U.S. Naval Reserves on June 3rd, 1947, and he was called from inactive duty on February 20th, 1951. Andy entered into the duty in Brooklyn and served as a construction driver and remained in military career. Petty Officer 3rd Class Maier was honorably discharged on May 2nd, 1952, and returned home to his life in Troy. In 1955, Andy married Helen Carroll, and together they had two sons, Stephen and Christopher. Andy worked as a remodeling contractor for over 50 years. He worked countless hours in and around Troy and had an excellent reputation as a craftsman. Just as he drove his truck in the military, Andy was easy to spot with his pickup truck that was named on the side as he drove from job to job. I'm sure that helped on political campaigns too, having that out there. So that's very nice of him. He had to be a proud man of his. Thank you. Andy worked hard but found time to serve his community too. He was an active member of the Lansingburg Historical Society, the Troy Germana Hall, where he served as president and board member for many years. He was also a board member and former president of the Lansingburg Rotary, a founding member of the Brunswick Elks, a board member of the Lansingburg Boys and Girls Club, former president and board member of the Veterans and Battle of the Bulge, Hudson Valley Chapter, and was a communicant of St. Augustine's Church in Troy, where he served as an usher for many years. In addition to all of his volunteer service, Andy enjoyed collecting antiques. Sadly, on May 6, 2012, Andy passed away, leaving behind his beloved wife, Helen, his sons, Stephen and Christopher, and 3 grandchildren, Christine, Thomas, and Eric, 2 sisters, Mary and Helen, and 2 brothers, Paul and Ernest, and several nieces and nephews. Andy was preceded by his parents, Frank and Lois, and his sister Frances and Dorothy. Andy is buried in St. Mary's Cemetery in Troy, New York. The Rensselaer County Legislature is proud to carry on this tradition honoring our county's deceased veterans, and we are grateful for Andy Maier's family for allowing us to honor him and his life to our country and the community here in here today. Their enlightenment of being in the military and what they've gone through. I can only say a few words in their absence, is that through the things I've heard from Mr. Walsh and Mr. Harrington, that was the time, that was the thing to do, was to get out of school, and when war called, to go out and help your country, and that's what they did. I sure would like to see more of that these days, but we don't see that anymore, where the young people just jump up and go out to forget the draft. They just signed up and wanted to go fight the battle. This legislative body, as well as I know all veterans, are proud of those who served, and we are very proud of the service that they've provided, not only to us overseas and in battle, but here in their community. They come back and built this country, and we're very proud of their efforts for doing that. Thank you very much. At this time, we will present you with a plaque from the legislature.
I will now ask Congressman Paul Tonko to come forward.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you for your devoted efforts on behalf of veterans. And an honor to join with my colleagues in government and to continue this tremendous tradition with the county executive, with Steve, and thanking Congressman McNulty for having planted the seeds of a program now that continues to say thank you to those who have preceded us and who have donned the uniform through the ages, to make certain that we as a people are free, live free, and can build upon their laurels as we go forward, and are inspired by their selfless acts of courage and undeniable patriotism. So it's an honor to join with you, Chris and Steve, and all of the family as we say thank you to an individual of greatness in Anthony A. Maier, also dubbed as Andy. So we'll address him as Andy here this morning. But in talking with the family, I was touched by the fact that we don't always get to honor someone who has served in two branches of the military, and heard about his bravery as a very young individual, enlisting at 19 to join that effort in the Army during World War II, and to be part of the European theater effort that was very demanding. We heard of his bravery and savviness and quick thinking and courage as he performed so valiantly in the Battle of the Bulge, and making efforts so that we could be victorious in World War II. So an honorable bit of contribution from him, reminding us that we build upon we stand upon the backs of those who preceded us and really offered great inspiration and served as role models. But also heard that somewhat as a poking by a friend, decided to join the Navy after he had made such a great contribution through the Army, and thinking, well, another war couldn't happen, and here we are in a Korean conflict, and he had enlisted into the Navy and performed there in the African theater, and then earned so many great recognitions for his military service and for his defense of our principles in this nation, and enabled us to burn more brightly as a beacon of hope to freedom-loving people around the world. So we recognize him this morning as one who gave of himself so that others could live freely. We recognize the fact that he had earned so many bits of recognition. The American Service Medal, the American Campaign Medal, certainly the European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal, his Good Conduct Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, to name a few. but great decoration for an individual heritage. We as a nation are perhaps the most interesting in that we are a combination of so many cultures and creeds and backgrounds and races, so that we are this wonderful glowing tribute to immigrants. And he honored that by being president and board member of the Troy Germania Hall, which obviously spoke to his love of heritage and his own sense of being, and then also all the commitment to community. You know, it can be said that he truly was a community builder. And those are opportunities that he probably cherished because he fought for that freedom of expression. The fact that he was gifted as a craftsman, that he utilized that skill to enable others to build community, to add his strength and talents to that equation, to be an active member with forces like the Lansingburg Historical Society, the Brunswick Elks, the Lansingburg Boys and Girls Club, and the list goes on and on. It seemed that he was totally devoted to being an outstanding citizen, a role model in community, and again, exercising his opportunity to respond to the rights that he helped defend. So it's a great opportunity to join with so many here this morning to say thank you. Thank you to Andy Maier for his great love of country and, again, his selfless service. I had asked that, along with my colleague and friend, Congressman Antonio Delgado, that a flag be flown over our nation's capital in tribute, in honor, in memory of Anthony A. Maier, and thanking him so that we as a people can truly be free. So it's with that spirit that I offer my thank you from the U.S. House of Representatives and offer to you my hope, my wishes that he rest in peace. He has been a great servant of his Creator and has done a tremendous walk in life. And for that, we're most humbly grateful.
I will now ask our Rensselaer County Executive, Steve McLaughlin, to come forward.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure, honor, and privilege to be here to honor one of Rensselaer County's own and to join with my colleagues in federal, state, and local government. Also to thank Congressman McNulty for getting this rolling and our to starting this ceremony years ago, and our Veterans Committee on our legislature and all of our legislators who attend so frequently. We get a good crowd here every month because we believe in supporting our veterans and those that have passed. And certainly Andy Maier's quintessential Rensselaer County story. If you look at him growing up here, born in Troy, Troy High, Catholic Central, and then going off to war, and as we've heard many times, did nothing more than help save the world. That generation, that greatest generation, if you think without them and their courage and their sacrifice and what they went through, we would not be in the position we are today, the freest and greatest nation in the world. So, and then to look at what Andy did when he came home, he continued to build, not just homes, but a family and a community. And if you look at all of the things he was involved in Lansingburg, whether it's the Vets Club, the Boys and Girls Club, the Elks, the Germania Hall, just seemed like a great guy. But I think he'd probably be most proud of what he built was his family. And I think as a father, we all want our kids to do more than what we've done. And I think that Anthony would be very, very proud of the family that he built. So it's a pleasure and honor to be here today to take time out for a few moments to honor one of the greatest generation and a fantastic Rensselaer County resident. So thank you for letting us do that for Andy today. Thank you.
I will now ask New York State Senator Daphne Jordan to come forward.
Good morning. I'm so honored to be here today. I have to say that my job is wonderful because I get to go around and honor people and to learn about special people. And Andy Maier was very special. And even just the fact that we're calling him Andy in a formal ceremony rather than Andrew shows that he was beloved by people. When you go and read about him, it's Andy, 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 and that's a sign of endearment. Ceremonies like this are wonderful because we're recognizing our veterans, and it's something that I feel we don't do enough of. And every day should be Veterans Day, and we should celebrate our veterans. We have what we have because of the veterans. What strikes me about Andy in particular is that it seemed he never had enough of giving of himself. Service, service, service. And as Congressman Tonko said, he hasn't had enough once he was honorably discharged from the Army. He had to then go and sign himself up for the Navy. I mean, I've never heard of that. I'm sure it happens, but that really struck me when I was reading about Andy. The other thing that struck me was his service to his community afterwards. And it takes a special, very special person, not only to be able to be a member of the causes that he was, but to be a leader. And he was president of different organizations and recognized. And I'm not going to repeat everything that was said. It's easier when you go first and you can name everything. But I would say that I hope that people learn from Andy. I wish there were even more people here. I worry about the next generation coming up today, that their volunteerism and service might not be on par with someone like Andy. And it's so important that people in today's world step up and volunteer, serve our country, and we're forever grateful for Andy. So I thank the family very much. I have a Senate proclamation to present and also the New York State Senate Liberty Award. And the Liberty Award is the state's highest honor, and it's presented to citizens who have merited special commendation for their actions on behalf of their fellow New Yorkers and their community. And Andy certainly did that.
I will now ask New York State Assemblyman Jake Ashby to come forward.
Good morning. It's certainly an honor and a privilege to be here today. I'd like to thank Congressman McNulty for starting this program and also allowing me to serve in the United States Army. He helped me get my path started a long time ago, and every opportunity I can, I thank him for that. So one thing that kind of struck me with the timeline of Andy's service is that he enlisted in February of 1943, and by February 1944 he was in the European theater. So he had only 1 year to train and prepare to go through everything that happened in the following year. And when you look at where he served and what happened, that's incredible. That is what we're going through there. And the importance of having, you know, a light vehicle mechanic or a truck mechanic or a tracker, any type of mechanic that's running logistics back and forth on those lines. You know, that's why they called it the Battle of the Bulge, because that line was bulging and you needed to hold that line. And in order to do that, you needed supplies. And if you read up on any of that, it was a pretty difficult thing to do. So his job and what he did was just, it was incredible, with very little time to prepare for it. And then what does he do when he comes home? He goes back and he serves again. He serves again in the Navy after going through all of that. And, you know, to me, that's just, it's an incredible, and it speaks to the devotion and commitment of that generation. And it also provides an example to my generation. And, you know, those of us who served, you know, my generation and before, having an example of someone who's done what he's done and then comes home and continues to serve, raise a family, leads in his community in so many ways, it just provides a wonderful example. And I'm very proud to be here today and to be able to provide proclamation on behalf of myself and my colleague, John McDonald.
Thanks so much.
John Raitano from the Rensselaer County Honor a Deceased Veteran Committee will present the committee plaque at this time. Will the committee members please stand?
On behalf of the Honor Deceased Veteran Committee, please accept this plaque as a token of appreciation for your loved one who served. Thank you. Glad to do it, Mr.
Please stand for the closing prayer by Joel Labelow.
Day is done, gone the sun, from the lake, the hill, and the sky. All is well. God of compassion, dignity, and strength, watch over this veteran and his family. Bless him and grant his family comfort and everlasting peace. Amen.
Retire the colors.
Green colors. Two. Right face. All right. One.
This concludes our Honor Vet ceremony for this month. Thank you for coming to honor our deceased veteran for the month of August, Andy Maier. Please join us for our next Honor of Veteran ceremony scheduled for Monday, September 9th in honor of Andrew and Gloria Dolan. Before we go our separate ways, we will take a few family photos right here. Then we will proceed outside to the county flagpole and raise the flag in Andy's memory. Thank you again. Uh,